Hello Starporters, this is Sizer, and as requested I will be doing a series of tutorials on the subjects of modeling, texturing, map generation for other channel modifiers, such as specular, normals, and emissive mapping, and the preparation for import into Freelancer of models. Now, I will be using Autodesk Maya 2012 for these videos. I know that certain parties had requested that I use 3ds Max. However, I find 3ds Max to be quite clunky these days, and the newest versions have some lag issues, especially in their UV editors. So I will be using Maya. Wherever possible, I will mention how this would be done in 3ds Max, and I will link, if I remember to, certain 3ds Max based tutorials that will help. So this first video, I'm not entirely sure how far I'll get. I intend to at least get the basic modeling of a ship done. I will show all sorts of techniques. This should probably take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half for the first video, and I will go step by step, beginning to end, of making a really decent looking ship. I'm not going to half-ass this one for you guys. So without much further ado, let's get started. Right off the bat, we're going to drop in a cube, basically the most basic of our primitives. Let's bring it into a mode where it is textured with shading. Shading is awesome. So, in our viewport, which is this, we'll maneuver around by holding down Alt and holding down the left mouse button. Right click while Alt will allow you to zoom. Alt and scroll wheel while holding it down, mouse 3, will allow you to drag and pan the camera around. So, let us begin. I'm going to start by cutting this cube in half and deleting one half. Now I'm doing that so that I can easily model one half of a ship and then mirror it over. That allows me to create an entire ship in half the time. Now that only works if you're dealing with something symmetrical. Even if you're dealing with something somewhat symmetrical, you can model the symmetrical bits and do the asymmetrical bits separately. There is a problem with this, however, is that if you UV map one side and then mirror it, any text you want to have on that hull is going to be mirrored. Now, sometimes that's not much of a problem if it's tiny little text on hatches and panels, but if you get like a ship name or a faction name written across your hull, it's going to be reversed on the other side. So there are ways to take care of that. You can either UV map the whole thing and share certain UVs, or you can create floating geometry with a hull registry or text and move that across the other side. There are different methods that you can use to fix that. The only one that I can say without fear that you should not and cannot use is expect Freelancer to accept transparency in your textures. It does not like it, especially not with the engine we're using for Free World's Tides of War. So, to get on, I believe I'll try and develop a frigate-sized ship. I've never been terribly into designing fighters or freighters, so we'll make something frigatey. I don't know if I'll use a classic vanilla influence or not. Not sure. We'll just see how it goes. So all I'm going to do is I dropped in an edge loop there, and split this in half. Now what I'm going to do is apply a bevel using the edge modifier to bring up this menu with your different selection types. You hold down the right mouse button. I'm going to bevel it. And in the attribute editor, go to the bevel, change the offset down, add a segment, extrude these out. What I'm going to do here is merge these vertices. You'll notice here that I have 9 selected. I'm going to merge them. That should bring that down to 5. That should actually bring that down to 4. What did I accidentally merge? Okay, it's fine. I had one grab, but nothing happened. Now, see, when I extruded here, these faces were created. We do not want to have any faces inside the geometry. In fact, there's an artifact here from something else. So I'm going to go in here, edge, select these edges. I must have accidentally created that. Yes, lamina faces. So we're going to grab those faces and get rid of them. So the lamina faces are faces that have no geometry and no space, no area, and you don't want those. They're bad. I must have accidentally created them. It happens. So got rid of those. Now again, extrusions are going to be your most common function. It's a good way to pull geometry away and around. So let's keep going here. I'm going to create the main body here. Always just casually make sure you've selected what you intend to. There always do this. So if I grabbed all these and then hold Control and dragged over that, that would have deselected everything else. Control and drag is your deselect. So let's grab this and extrude it back. Grab these, delete them. Okay, I want that midsection to be a little bit bigger up here, so I'm going to grab these vertices. And bring them back. And I want these vertices forward, so I'm going to grab these vertices, bring them forward, merge those, verts, okay, so I'm probably going to be silent for a little while. I hope you guys are able to catch what I'm doing. Just going to be employing lots of extrudes and lots of other functions to create. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Again, always look at what you're doing. Don't be like me. Don't just blitz along, because I'll often make a stupid mistake and have to go back a few steps. Now let's go here. Make a, gunboat frigate thing. So let's move this back in alignment with that. This is snapping, now that I mention it. So if you grab one direction, hold down V, and then hold down the middle mouse button and align it something like that, it'll snap to be in direct line with it, whatever I move my mouse to. Then I can do that with a different direction. Holding X will snap it to the grid. So that's everything you need to know for that. So now I'm going to bring these edges down. This edge. I'm going to use the scale tool to bring them towards each other. However, my scale tool is a little screwed up right now, so I gotta go to World and now use this. Right, so we have these folded in. Let's grab this here. And extrude it in. Creating a nice little space here that we can later throw windows in. Oh, looks like I did something else stupid. Being really sloppy tonight. Don't like it. Don't like it. Alright, so let's create a little bit more here. I think I'm gonna grab that and connect them. Now what I've done here is I've created an end gun here. This is a polygon with more than 4 sides, and you never want that. There's almost never, I can't think of any situations where you'd really want that. It causes all sorts of problems. I wouldn't be able to drop an edge loop across. A lot of game engines don't know how to draw them properly. Some don't even let you import models. Like Sins of a Solar Empire simply won't let you bring in models with more than 4-sided faces. So let's use the pen interactive split tool. That'll allow me to drag in some geometry. Actually, see, that's nice. Now I'm gonna grab this edge and connect. I'm probably gonna want the ship to be a little skinnier, but whatever. So let's grab this and this and this and move them over. Now in this case, I'm going to do something I shouldn't. Actually, no, I'm going to do something I should. So I'm going to extrude this out to here, and then snap it to here. Go in, delete that, and merge these verts. There are lots of quick ways and easy ways to create geometry that you want without creating any sort of issue. So I'm going to insert an edge loop here. Assuming I did everything right, that should properly connect. Yes, it does. Now I'm going to use the scale tool, which is R on your keyboard, to quickly make that flat. Nice and planar. Planar is a term you're going to hear me using a lot. It means flat along a given axis. It may be the default X, Y, and Z. It could be a turned axis. But something that is planar is flat on an axis to itself. So, that's split. We can move that a little bit further over. Add some more geometry here. Connect. See if I can't make this a little flatter without causing problems. Oh, I can. Excellent. I'm going to convert this selection to vertices, and then select that vertex, and I'm going to move them a little bit. Where do I want that? I want that a little farther back. I'm going to move that up. As a matter of fact, I can save here. I can use the merge vertex tool, bring that there, and that's better. Okay, see, that fixed a lot of problems. Always drop in some more edge loops. You might be surprised by what you accidentally fix. So let's grab these faces and bring them out with an extrusion. Delete that. I'm going to grab these faces, I'm going to extrude them down and move this edge back. Bring these edges in to create a nice little slant. Okay. Let's see. Now one thing I can do here is when I extrude, I can not move it at all, which will leave it flat here. Now, you don't want to do that often unless you're paying attention real hard, because what will happen is that you'll accidentally leave a face flat on, and that's never good, because that'll create a laminate face like you saw me do stupid amounts of times. Never ever want a laminate face. Now, let's get this bugger fixed. Come on. The problem with it is that sometimes it's really hard to select the right edges to manipulate. There we go. Okay. Don't know what those are. I will fix it momentarily. Interesting. Making all sorts of lovely mistakes tonight. Alright. So now that we got that, let's make this geometry close to what I want. Okay. Alright, so now that we have this in place, let's play around a little bit more. Let's use the append to poly tool to make quick work. Tool-wise, you can use Control D, I believe, to the last set of movements you did that are continuous. It's a very handy thing to have. Let's move this back further. Let's interactive split. Right. Right, so now that we've got that going, let's see where else we can go with this. Let's start creating our engine section. So again, dropping in an edge loop, scaling it to straighten it out. Let's move it forward a bit. Let's use the insert edge loop tool to drop in some more edge loops here. And you'll see that because I maintain good edge flow, it continues all the way forward, which is something you always want. Edge flow is king. So, here, let's grab these faces. And extrude them. Trying to think of ways to spice this thing up. I'm just going to worry about the basic geometry right now, then I'll make it all nice and prettified. So let's get this thing designed. So let's grab this edge. Vertex. What to do. Alright, so let's do an insert edge loop. Insert edge loop. Insert edge again. select a split tool. Extrude, scale. Hitting this button sends it to an origin point, which allows you to directly manage what you have. Let's use these again, using the snap to bring these in line, because I want it to follow the exact same geometry instead of being out there. Okay. Alright. Now you see how quickly this can become tedium. You really have to like what you're doing here. Let's bevel this. Now that bevel will come up here in the attribute editor, and I can change. Oops, wrong one. Gotta go all the way to the front. Here's the thing, you gotta delete your history every now and again, or you're gonna have this massive stack, and it'll cause problems with interdependencies. Now, if you want to be able to edit things, sure, you can keep your history for a while, but it's gonna cause issues. Alright, do we want that to be rounded? I think I'm gonna make this shiv a little roundy. Go in and add some rounded edges on things. I normally don't do it like that. I tend to like hard angles myself. Probably about 3. Change. Add a segment or 2. I actually don't think I like this bevel so much with that many segments. Yeah, having just one segment's fine on that one. Double clicking on an edge will select its entire edge loop. An edge loop is a series of contiguous edges. An edge ring is a series of edges parallel to each other. So this is an edge ring all the way down. You can select edge rings by using the edge ring selection tool right here and select. I'm going to continue my quest of the great bevel. Now this one I might turn a little bit more, so let's bring that offset down and drag in an extra segment. Yeah, that looks good. Hitting F when you have something selected will focus on to whatever you have selected. Now let's square that off. Alright, let's drag that. You'll notice that I'll bounce around from different parts of the ship. I'm very ADD like that. I don't like to work on one section for too long unless I'm really inspired, because more often than not I'll find that I can come back to it and think of something way cool than what I had intended to do. So let's drag that, move that forward, I believe. Don't think I liked that. And if you heard that, that was my phone turning off because I was too lazy to actually set it to charge. I do think I like where this is going though. Yes, I do. Let's bring this down. Insert some edges there. Get rid of these faces. Alright, so now I'm noticing that I'm starting to get laggy, which means it's time to delete my history. So I'm going to go to Edit, delete all by type history, and that will completely clear this attribute editor up. It will remove all of the stacks I have of actions taken, so I can't go back and change this bevel or this bevel anymore. I'd have to manually do that with tools. So let's go in here. What do I want to do here? That's too far back. That's too flat. That's just right. Okay. Extrude that up. You may notice sometimes that Maya will makes things look like that they are selected when they're sometimes not. It's just another one of the wonderful bugs that Autodesk's not yet fixed. Autodesk's wonderful with that. Not fixing things, that is. Alright, so I have decided that this feels too big. So I'm going to move this down. Move that down. I actually like that coming forward a little bit. Let's make it a little bit more pronounced. Yeah, that looks cool. Alright, I'm gonna stop fiddling around here now. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish it. Okay. I've probably already said that before. I apologize. I get lost in what I'm doing. Split that down. So, just gonna bang out a few more things, call it a day. So, I can use the offset tool to drag that in a little bit. And then I'm going to extrude it again to create that slide in. Now this geometry right here is very undesirable. It is a, I believe it's called a convex face. I don't remember. Either way, since this goes in underneath this triangle line, you want to split that. That's better. This one even falls a little bit under that category. It's not as bad, but it's still undesirable. I'm going to grab this edge, bevel it. Little trick here. Okay, so I'm going to grab these faces. I'm going to actually, I'm going to use this trick. Going to mesh, extract, object, duplicate, insert will allow me to move my pivot. I have a thing here that allows me to instantly center my pivot. Then I'm going to mirror my geometry. I'm not going to merge it with the original. I'm going to mirror the direction. And actually, no, I'm not going to mirror my geometry. I'm going to discrete scale. Gonna do this the easy way. Always just the easy way. You always try and think of something that's nice and, you know, cool, but do it the easy way. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna use the duplicate special. I'm gonna duplicate special, and which was X, Y, Z, and so I want to go Z plus, I believe. now I can move my point to there. Let's quickly delete all these faces. As a matter of fact, let's, again, quick way to select something sometimes is to select a bigger area and then deselect everything you don't need. So now that that's in place, move that forward. Object mode, heal all those together. Vertex, merge. We should be all good now. So now we've got this here. So I'm going to bring this face down and these faces out. I'm going to grab all the edges that I don't. I'm going to extrude. Full. Yep, see. Love extruding edges because it almost never works. I'm going to move that forward. I'm going to bring it to its lowest point. I'm going to create an edge. Scale that up. Okay. Then I'm just going to grab all the relevant edges, vertexes I should say. I think I'm going to put a nice big Liberty style gun down here. Right down the middle. Okay, now let's just finish this off with the pen polygon tool. Here's a fun one. Now that I've closed that, that's a hole, and I can fill the hole. Now I can just use the interactive split tool to quickly box this thing off. Alright, so now we've got the front end done. Let's just quickly bang out the rest of the back. So let's insert an edge loop. Insert an edge loop. Don't worry, we will clean up any geometry that we don't end up needing, but right now you don't really want to worry too much about it because your mesh, it's okay if it's messy as long as it's not technically messy, if you catch my drift, as long as it follows the rules, you should be fine. Alright, let's grab that, create our little overhang. Almost there, boys and girls. Almost there. Although I do suspect more boys than girls will look at my work. Such is my lot and life. That looks better. Flows better. Okay. So, let's continue. You know, I really want to finish this now, but I know that I'm looking at this and I want to add detail. I'm kind of liking where I'm going with this, so I'm going to take a little longer. Hope I don't bore all y'all. But I'm just having too many fun ideas. apologize. I'm not talking very often at this point, but I'm just in the groove. You should all be able to follow what I'm doing at the moment. Okay. Okay. That'll do for basics, I guess. Let's trim this thing down. You can trim down on your poly count by making sure that everything you have actually is needed. Now that's not to say that you should get rid of all excess geometry, because sometimes that excess geometry is actually helping to define some shading, and you don't want to just get rid of that altogether. So it's sometimes good to leave in extra geometry to help define it. Like, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna insert an edge loop here because I believe it would do it some good. Actually, I'm going to go and do it manually by selecting all that and connecting the components, and grabbing the edge loop. Doing a scale of it. Bringing it back. There we go. Let's do a quick save, which I have not done yet. Way to go, me. Way to go. Once again, I'm going to clear my history on this. I'd love for this to be quicker. I really can't skip anything I'm doing, and the reason is that by having things more complicated than they need to be, you make your job UV mapping so much harder. So I'm just going to clean this up as much as I possibly can. And again, make sure that you have four-sided faces. Now, I did drop in a lot of edge loops when I was initially doing the work on this, and it does make the cleanup longer, but if I had chosen to go more detailed than I did, all these extra loops would have helped me maintain flow and create some pretty nasty looking stuff. Now, as it turns out, I didn't end up doing anything super high poly, and that's probably a good thing, because I would have been here forever, much longer than I want it to be, because I want to make these concise, but really there's no way to do these concise. So let's see. That must remain, but that must not. And just remember again that if you're modeling the way I do here with 1/2 of the model, that your poly count only tells 1/2 the story. And this is technically four-sided, I believe. 1, 2, yeah. It's a little odd though, so I'm probably going to drop in a, yeah, definitely. It's getting pretty close to what I don't want to do, though. Because if I bring that down, it crosses that line. You don't want that. But what I can do is get rid of that. Interactive split. Now I can reduce even further. So don't be afraid to mess around, realign some of your stuff. Let's me cut down on even more faces. Alright, I think that back end's been reduced well enough because I can go further on that. Well, that's convenient. Alright, continuing on. That's good enough. Let's see what it looks like duplicated. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Alright, so I believe that's the end of this first basic video. It's long as all heck, I believe. Sorry it took so long, but important things need teaching. And I hope that you were able to pick some stuff up by watching. What I'm doing now is hardening all the normals so that you get those hard edges there, and I'll go in and soften the ones I want softened on my own. But we'll cover that in advanced prep next video, I believe. I'll go ahead and do some more detailed modeling, cutting, and some surface detail, and then I'll move on to UV mapping. Ideally, I think 3 more videos about the length of this should get it all covered. Thank you for sitting through this, and I will bring more to you as the week progresses.